Good afternoon, everyone. Snow falling for the first time in Kuwait. As soon as the images came out, the media right away in damage control, saying that it was likely hail. I'll leave the close-up here for you to decide. Does that look like snow on the hood of a vehicle along with the windscreen? Or does that look like hail accumulating on a car? Again, a little bit closer up here, different image from a different photographer. Mecca, Saudi Arabia. The road to Mecca turning into a winter wonderland during the same time. Look at the depth of hail on the roads there. Rafha in the north on the border with Iraq. Look how much snow up there. Minus 2 degrees Celsius as well. They do get snow occasionally, but not at this depth. Caking on the date trees. Also Iran for the last 3 years receiving snows in the 50-year mark. Polar jet stream patterns are definitely shifting, which would be expected as the magnetosphere is decreasing and the winds behave erratically planet-wide. As our sun enters a new grand solar minimum, the magnetosphere on the sun, which has an effect on the solar wind speed, telemetry, and density, is going to affect the magnetosphere on our Earth. When it does, historically, you start to see mix-ups in the jet stream and what weather forecasters now term so frequently the polar vortex. This is a direct effect from the decreasing magnetosphere on our Earth. Look for you here at the last few cold waves. The top is the Middle East cold wave here that sent all the snow through Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, and Iran. On the left there, you'll see the Asian cold front, which dumped snows for the first time in Okinawa, record cold in Hong Kong, record cold in Vietnam, all-time snows in Vietnam. Jumping over to Kuwait, not an area that you would ever expect snow because the Persian Gulf is continuously warm waters, which would stave off any types of snowfalls in normal situations. It is the first time they've ever recorded snow in Kuwait, making the news. Some images for you here. The accumulations have to be a little bit deep to be showing that much on the hillsides in the desert area there. Of course, it would make news right away because it is the first ever recorded snowfall in the region, yet the weather media come immediately out and say that it was hail, not snow, to deflect the actual cooling pattern that's happening on the planet. Please take a look, make your own judgment. I'm just presenting the information to you. Does this look like snow falling on the hood and the windshield of a car, or does this look like accumulated hail? It doesn't take too long searching through Google and you'll start to see a trend in the pattern. Rare desert snow, Saudi Arabia 2015. Wait a second, it just had rare desert snow in 2016. Also rare desert snows in 2008. Now, what are the possibilities in the last 8 years? 3 of those years have had rare desert snows. Over to Mecca, western Saudi Arabia. Hailstorm turns road to Mecca into the winter wonderland. And you wonder what the hail depth might be. Slowing traffic like this is a good representation. Social media images showing a lot of different screen captures here of what the hail depth was in the area through the desert. Thicker than you might imagine, coming into springtime in that area. And that was back on January 14th. Fast forward a week, Rafha in northern Saudi Arabia on the Iraq border. Extremely rare snow event. These are the date palms here. Obviously there was some wind in this storm because it shrouded the one side of the trees more than the other. Snow density, incredibly deep, unusual, and rare for sure. Minus 2 degrees Celsius, also the temperature recorded. Jumping through the social media, bunch of images here for you to get just an idea of how thick and how rare that was. I love the camels with the snow. That's one of my favorite images. Larger view out here on the Middle Eastern map. We're going to jump to Iran. This is Tehran. blanketed in snow in 2016, 2015, 2014. And these snows are in the 50-year range. So again, you can start to see a pattern. What are the chances? 500,000 people losing power, deep snows for the last 3 years out of the last 3 years. It is a trend. As the magnetosphere continues to decline in strength, you are going to see more mix-ups in the jet stream, pulling much, much further south. The two highlighted areas are the small dips which occurred this year. I could with extreme certainty say that as we move forward into 2019, 2022, these dips are going to go so far south that they're going to be getting down right around the 30-degree north latitude range, which means you are going to see snow in areas that you would not even consider possibly snowing. Snows will come to Hong Kong within the next 2 years. I would predict also in this event that you are going to see snow in Cuba by 2019 and 2020. Equatorial areas are going to receive massive hailstorms through this. And the weather, as you know it, planet-wide, is going to be so flip-flop that as it was in the grand solar minimum in the 1640s and the Maunder minimum, they didn't know when the weather would be any type of stable scheduling so they could grow crops. Thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of the video. Famines and global food shortages, which should be starting to rear its ugly head in about 2019. This is the reason that you could see why governments around the world are preparing their police states. The economic collapse is going to occur about 1 to 2 years before the food shortages come. The governments will need to control the populations before the food shortages arrive. So whenever the economic collapse comes, you have about a year, maybe a year and a half. The